We're here just briefly showing the kit that the owner has bought to install the V8 in the Model A. It'll be a 1950 Mercury V8, but this kit is supposed to work for pretty much all of them. Most people use the later ones from 48 to 53. The Mercury offers a special longer stroke. It's actually a 255 instead of a 239. It's got 110 horsepower instead of 90 or 85. Don't quote me, but anyway, it's kind of cool to have a Mercury flathead for this project. So these are the motor mounts. They bolt up front. We'll show you where they go on the car in just a minute. We're basically test fitting stuff to see where things go for our own benefit too. This is the wishbone ball receiver. So it'll fit like that somehow in the car. That's what we got to see what it's doing, where it's going. And then this is the transmission mount. It fits like this probably.
Yeah, because the ears on the transmission go here.
Yeah. So the rear of the transmission's got 2 ears on the bearing retainer. And we're going to show all this again. There won't be a test. And
what?
okay, for you. And then that fits like that in the car. This kit is from Millworks at the Old Yankee Speed Company.
Not a sponsor.
No, not sponsored. It's what the owner bought, the kit already, and looks like a good kit. A lot of people have used it. There's a couple others out there. I don't know them right off the top of my head, but they look roughly the same. So, yeah, we're not sponsored. We'll tell you if they are really bad, but everything we've seen online, they're pretty good. So we'll move over to the car. We'll start with the engine mounts. So, well, this shock is still here because we're having problems getting it disconnected from the axle. We've got penetrating fluid and everything in there, and it'll come loose eventually. But they put slots, but the spacing is the same. So this fits on the inside of the frame rail where the shock fits. So that one goes there, this one goes here, and then they've got it figured out, and we'll mock it up and verify. But the motor mounts should fit right here, and it uses the big rubber biscuit motor mounts. And these are slotted a little bit, so there's a little bit of leeway for variations in the frame and engines and all that. So, and there's, if you don't like where this fits it perfectly, you can always move your holes forward or backwards a little bit this way. We don't know where we need it yet until we get there. We'll have to trim this cross member before we even start because the crank pulley comes right here. And that's both in the book and in the Millworks kit instructions. It tells you how much to cut out of this. We'll show you that when we get there. We'll do that even before we test fit the motor. So that's the engine mounts. I'll grab the transmission mount.
All right.
Might want to move to the front, Zach. You see underneath there?
Yeah.
So, back here, there's a lip right here. This front lip has to come off so that this area will sit flat on this cross member. Can you see all that, Zach?
Yeah.
Okay. So, it's going to fit kind of like that. Once you cut that lip off, it'll fit flat. And then the transmission sits right there. So that all looks good. I think this hole lines up with that hole.
Yeah.
What it's supposed to do. And the brake push rod goes through here, and then that other small bracket fits on the back side of this cross member, and the master cylinder fits back here. This one fits that ball. Oh, I bet that's the bottom 2 bolts on the bell housing.
Yeah.
Okay. So we don't have that, but that goes right there. And then that ball fits up in there with the stock ball retainer in these holes. And that should work real nice, because that looks to be about the right height there.
Yep.
So, like I said, seems like a good kit. There may be some small variations we have to figure out. But I couldn't figure out this one until just now. I couldn't figure out where these fit, and now it makes perfect sense that it fits on the bottom of the bell housing. So it may need longer bolts for that. And then the only other thing is the brake bracket, but it's behind that cross member, so we're not even going to worry about that today. All right, so now we're over on the B side of our shop. We got a lot of storage, and so this is that same bracket we were showing you in the car, and this is the transmission bell housing. It's going to fit right up there.
Other way.
It doesn't fit perfect.
90 degrees. Yeah.
Oh, yep, I had it backwards.
180 degrees.
So it's going to fit right up behind there. Just right. Holes line up so the ball will come in right here where my index finger is. So that'll be good. And then we'll turn it around. This is the back mirror that was on the car.
Where are the rubbers?
In there somewhere.
That's the cylinder.
This is mounted on that cross member, and so that fits right there. Ward's going to pull out one of the biscuits mounts.
Well, I'll pull the cotter.
They're cotter pinned and everything, but anyway, they
Goes
go
in there
like,
like that.
and then up through there. So that gives you a nice rubber mounting at all 4 mounting locations. And then the last thing to show you out of this kit, put that back in the box. This is the pedal mount assembly that comes with the kit. It uses the stock Model A pedals on it gives you new bushings, cross shaft, and it bolts right here on top of the tower into these 2 bell housing bolts. And then it gives you a new cross rod, cross shaft for the
That slides in the transmission.
yeah, for the throwout bearing. And so by the time you get all your pedals worked together, this touches that with a rod. And like I say, we'll continue to go over everything. This is all getting set in our brains what we have and how it goes together. I really like this part of the kit because you get new bushings. It gives you wave washers, which keeps them from rattling. Model A pedals are probably going to be worn out anyway, so the bushings will really help. We can sandblast them, paint them, rebush them, and it'll all work like new. This kit also, I think you can do different levels of the kit, but there's the brake cable kit for Model A's. This is all from the same company. And it's got a bracket that fits on the side of the transmission here. The emergency brake handle is right here. This cable hooks up to your rear end. So we'll follow the instructions. This is some more parts that this guy's bought. These are later versions of the shock absorbers. My brain is, I'm not, Lovejoy shocks, is that right? I can't remember. There's different versions of these, but they're hydraulic inside, and so they resist force just like a tube shock, except they look cool. So that's from the 20s and 30s. That's that sort of engineering. He's got a few more things here. Go ahead and show. This is his This is like a 36 rear axle.
With juice brakes.
It's got juice brakes partially converted, and this is a 32
Yep.
heavy
Heavy
front axle is what they say, and it comes with a little bit of a drop, so we didn't get we're not doing another drop. And he's got conversion stuff for that. All these extra drums, everything's going to be converted to hydraulic brakes, mainly for safety, but that's also what was getting done in the 50s. So more power to him. We're having fun. We're going to get this done. This is the transmission he's using, but not this. This came out of some little field beater or something, little rat rod that somebody had beat up, and he's got another tower. We got a nice swan neck gear shift handle for it. But it's the good 39 transmission that all the cool kids used in the 50s, so that's what we're doing. All right, back to work. We'll figure out what's going on next. All right, we're back on the Model A. We had some stuff done this morning and didn't get the camera out, but it wasn't very exciting to watch anyway. But the Mercury flathead is in place. Nothing is finalized. We're doing a big mock-up on making sure everything's going to fit. So the firewall, you can see it's pretty close. It does not touch and would probably be okay, but you can see this is the intake that we're going to use, and so there's like 3/16, maybe a quarter of an inch back here. So that'll probably get a little clearance there. Down here on the back side where that flange is, goes across, it'll probably get clearanced a little bit for the back of the block, because even though it's got a fairly solid mount, things move around, so you don't want things hitting. So these, we've shown you before all the stuff that came with the kit from Old Yankee Workshop, I think, Millworks. So these motor mounts came with it. They bolt into place here. Here's the biscuit mounts that come. New water pumps. This is the original Model A cross member, but we had to trim it back here because the front pulley goes right here, and so it'll hit here. So you just need to trim it for a little room. So we've got that all cleaned up. This is temporary, just to hold things out while we had the cross member out, trimming it up, cleaning everything up. This will come back out, and the frame rails will get boxed. And then I don't think we've shown you over here. This is the F1 steering box. Yeah, I don't think we've shown you. The main difference on the Model A, the tube comes in on the top, so it comes in up here, so it is a lot more likely to hit the head. We don't even have the heads here, but they're about that thick. They're another couple of inches thick. So this is from like a 51 to 53 F1 truck. It's a better steering box anyway because it's more advanced than the Model A, but it also comes in from the bottom, so it gives you a lot of clearance. There's going to be a little bit of a clearance issue here, but the owner of this has bought some headers. This is supposed to have nice thin flange right here, and so hopefully it'll tuck in there. If not, we'll have to move some stuff around, but hopefully nothing major. So from there, you see inside, new steering column tube, same drop. The kit came with the little extender. He bought a new steering wheel. Everything's looking real good. We've got it all mocked up. Everything's just sitting in place. Let me go to the other side and I'll point. Okay, so we're inside all the Millworks kit to mount a V8 in a Model A. So this piece bolts onto the transmission tower and the bell housing, and it holds the shaft instead of the shaft was built onto the old transmission. But this is a 39 Ford transmission. So brake pedal, clutch pedal, they'll need to be tweaked. We'll probably have to heat them up, move them around just a little bit. But they work with all this, and all the components are in the kit. So the brake master cylinder is going to mount down here. The clutch rod, there's a different rod, but it goes with this cross member, cross shaft that they provide to do the throwout bearing inside. Over here on this side, this is the emergency brake. It's a different part of the kit, but it's the same people. So it bolts on the top here. This is the stock handle, and it's got cables that now go back through here. We'll have all the cables hooked up because we're still in mock-up phase, but it's in the same position as it was originally. So this piece, we had to trim this rail here off the front of this cross member so that this big piece here would it'll bolt on. We may weld it on, but it holds the back of the transmission ears here and here. And that's all it really does. It's made it up to the Model A torque tube and drive shaft right now, but he's got a different rear end, so it'll mate the same way, but it's different. It'll be different parts later on. And you can see, if the camera can see up here, just how close it is. I can barely get my finger under the edge of the firewall. So some of this will get clearance pulled up here or something. And then the last thing in here, the spoon style gas pedal, and we'll make a mount for that up here. We don't know exactly where yet. We'll figure that out, and that'll look cool. It'll be period correct. And then last thing to show you is this is the original gauges, which it's a speedometer, odometer, a mechanical gas gauge. It doesn't even have an electrical sender, and it's dirty. We'll get a kit to replace that, and an ammeter. But the owner wants a bigger speedometer. We're going to need to do a light switch, maybe a voltmeter, temp sensor, a few different things. So we've been mocking up different things that might work. Like this, we could fabricate. All of this will be fabricated, so a gauge would go here and another gauge over here, maybe room for a switch up here. This will all be up to what the owner wants to do. This, if we want to keep it simple but add a bigger gauge, this would be made out of steel and go here. And so it would dip down here. Should still clear. We have to make sure it clears the shifter, but that would be a big speedometer there. And then this is also, let's see, yeah, we have an option like this if we had something behind here, and put a gauge here, and then there's another half of it that goes here. It's not really finished. This one is our least favorite because it fills up so much of that blank area. So it could go here, but there'd be plenty of room for a couple of small gauges or whatever. We have to wait for the owner to decide what he wants. Here's the Speedo he bought. I'm gonna hold it up in there. So we've cut this circle out this size so we know what we're looking at, but it's from 51 Plymouth, I think. So it's perfectly era correct, something he could have pulled out of the junkyard in the early 50s. It's neat looking. It's got a couple of indicator lights on the bottom that we could wire up to mean anything, either high beam indicator, temp sensor, overheat, whatever. And with this one, it would go right there and be part of the original gauge looking package. And if we used something like this one, then it might go right here, you know, and just be visible from this area. Once again, that's up to the owner. I like the original, but it is kind of hard to see, and it's dark. I guess the last thing we have to show you, we got one new roof rib. We got the whole top off since the last time y'all looked at us. And so this roof rib was all messed up and it was square. It was just something somebody whittled out of a piece of 2x4. So they make reproduction. Well, of course it's nice and white. And these others are, we're going to sand these down. I've already started pulling. There's little tacks everywhere from the old upholstery and old everything. So we're going to pull all the tacks, sand everything down, get the red stuff off, and then we'll stain these. He's probably going to leave these. We'll put the top back on, but we'll not have a headliner, so all this will be visible, which is a pretty common hot rod look, and we like it. So we want to make this all the wood match and look nice. And then the inside will be painted the colors that he's going to go with the outside, and that's where we are. We put the seat back in. The owner's supposed to come by and visit soon so he can fit, make sure the steering wheel's right. He's got enough room, forwards, backwards, pedals, everything. That's why we haven't finished welding the chop. We haven't finalized anything. We're in mock-up stage. If he approves all this, then we're off to the next phase, finishing everything up and then pulling the body off so we can box the frame. Until next time, that's it.